Tonight's headlines: rising STIs and HIV rates demand urgent action. Experts call for increased testing and education across Africa. Demand for elderly home care in Kenya, a call for improved services and support. Stima Sacco leads the charge in sustainable development, paving the way for economic growth and green future. CBC curriculum under scrutiny, challenges threaten Kenya's education reforms. Greetings and welcome to The Dive, coming to you live from 254 Nairobi, Kenya. My name is Biagon Ian and it's my pleasure to guide you through tonight's top stories, in-depth analysis and breaking news from Kenya and around the globe. From the latest developments shaping our nation to impactful stories touching lives across the globe, we've got it all covered for you. So stay tuned as we delve into matters, bringing you accurate, timely and balanced stories. Reach us through our social media platforms at KE Central. Our SMS line is 696969 to share your thoughts and opinions. Let's get started. Sexually transmitted infection, STIs and HIV continue to pose significant public health challenges across Kenya and the wider African continent. Despite ongoing efforts to reduce transmission rates, the new case of STIs, including HIV, remain alarmingly high, especially among the youth. Public health experts are calling for increased access to testing, education and healthcare services to curb these growing rates. Our reporter has more.
Health officials are working tirelessly to combat the high rising rates of sexually transmitted infections and HIV. Local clinics are offering free testing and treatment services to the community, and there are ongoing awareness campaigns to encourage safe sexual practices. Now, despite these efforts, the challenge remains significant, particularly among high-risk groups such as the youth and sex workers. Healthcare providers are calling for more and widespread access to these vital services, as well as better sexual health education to prevent further transmission. Back to you in the studio.
On to other news. In recent years, there has been a noticeable increase in the number of elderly people being admitted to elderly home cares across the country. This growing trend can be attributed to several factors, including the aging population, with more people living longer thanks to the advance in healthcare. Additionally, the changing dynamics of family structures, with many adult children living far from their aging parents or struggling to balance work and caregiving, as attributed to the shift. While this reflects positive development in the care sector, it also highlights the challenges of providing adequate, affordable and compassionate elderly care as the demand continues to rise. Our reporter has more.
It's clear that the number of elderly people being admitted to care homes in Kenya and across Africa is on the rise. According to recent statistics, the proportion of elderly people in Africa is growing rapidly, with the population of people aged 60 and above expected to triple by 2050. In Kenya, it is estimated that around 5% of elderly population now reside in care homes, a figure that has been steadily increasing due to several factors. Among the main reasons is the country's aging population, combined with the fact that many families are now unable to provide the necessary care due to work commitments or geographical distance. Additionally, urbanization and changing family structures have led to a shift, with more elderly individuals seeking professional care service. This growing demand highlights the need for more facilities and resources to meet the needs of this vulnerable demographic.
On to big data for sustainable development. Stima Sacco, one of Kenya's leading savings and credit cooperatives, has made significant strides in promoting sustainable development within the country. The organization is committed to integrate environmental, social and economical sustainability into its operations, Through various initiatives, Stima Sacco has supported renewable energy projects, providing financial for green technologies and invested in community development programs that prioritize education and healthcare. With these efforts, Stima Sacco continues to play a crucial role in driving Kenya's sustainable agenda, helping both individuals and communities thrive in a more sustainable and equitable future. Our reporter has more.
Now, on the ground, Stima Sacco is showing impressive growth and commitment to develop across Kenya. Over the past year, the Sacco has reported a 15% increase in membership, reflecting the trust and the confidence that more Kenyans have in their services. Stima Sacco has also disbursed over 2.5 billion Kenya shillings in loans, with a significant portion directed towards sustainable projects, including renewable energy and infrastructure development. In addition, the Sacco has partnered with over 50 community organizations, contributing to the funding of educational and healthcare projects in rural areas.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Kindly introduce yourself.
Yes, Olivia Sang. I'm a credit officer, Stima Sacco, Kisumu branch, Kisumu County.
My first question, what are Stima Sacco's key priorities in terms of corporate sustainability?
Thank you very much for the question. The priorities for the Sacco is one, to provide members with a haven for savings, avail affordable credit to members, return in impressive dividends. Stima Sacco also has grown to become a leading financial partners in the country with a large asset base, massive membership, dynamic products, and also impressive dividends to all the members who have invested in our Sacco.
And how does the Sacco define and maybe measure success in sustainability?
Our Sacco measures success and in sustainability, one, in contribution from the members, number of members enrolled, investment, government bonds. We have also shares in the stock exchange. We have lending to customers in terms of loans. We have also, in these loans, we have different types of loans. We have empower loans, we have normal loans, we have VUCA loans, flexi loans, salary advance, and also other loans which enable customers to develop themselves in their capacity and also improving their living standards.
How does the Sacco support community development and financial inclusion among members?
Our Sacco continue developing and financial investments inclusion. One, providing avenues for members to invest their savings in profitable ventures, thereby enhancing their financial sustainability and growth. Also, the Sacco do financial education. It educates members on the effective financial management, budgeting, and investment strategies.
And as your Sacco, what mechanisms are in place to handle complaints or feedback from members regarding sustainability practices?
As a Sacco, we have so many mechanisms which are in place where customers give us feedback and also complaints about our Sacco. One, during the general meeting, we normally have the complaints and also handle the feedback from the customers, that is our members. We have frequent communication from the Stima Sacco. Meetings are done by the delegates in their branches. We have also social communication platforms by interviewing in the television. Most of our members, like the managers, they normally sometimes appear in the television. We have also the Facebook, we have Instagrams, we have emails, and we have phone messages, the pop-ups, which normally comes to the members' phones often. We also have the notice boards, which are put in our offices. We also have suggestion box installed in every station In case the customer has any complaint, which is very confidential, it's normally put in the suggestion box for us to see the confidentiality of the messages which the customers provide to us.
And how does Stima Sacco stay ahead of industry trends in sustainability?
One, we have the SACCO have improved on their products, that is mortgages. We have also the car insurance. The SACCO offer insurance to the members, and also even the outsiders who wants to invest, who wants to insure their cars in our scheme. We have also the membership education. Our staff normally goes out to educate members all over the branches on the sustainability and also the trends that helps our industry to grow. We also have the SACCO also have invested on their members a lot by providing them with information on the investment and also helping them on the budget after taking their loans. Thank you.
Thank you. The competence-based curriculum CBC in Kenya is facing growing scrutiny as various challenges threaten its effectiveness and sustainability. Critics argue that the curriculum, while well-intentioned in fostering skill-based learning, is banned with issues such as inadequate infrastructure, insufficient teaching training, and also a lack of resources, to beg your pardon. Concerns have also been raised about the high cost involved in its implications, and particularly for parents struggling with the financial demands of buying materials and managing the transition. As the government works to address these issues, the future of CBC remains uncertain, with many questions whether it will achieve its objectives of producing well-rounded and innovative students. Our reporter has more.
As concerns mount over the competency-based curriculum in Kenya, the challenges it faces are becoming more apparent on the ground. Reports from schools across the country indicate a significant gap in the resources needed to effectively implement the curriculum. Teachers who are expected to guide students through a more hands-on learning process are struggling with inadequate training and a lack of teaching material. Additionally, many parents are raising concerns about the financial burden of purchasing educational resources, with some feeling that the costs are too high for the middle and low-income families. Critics argue that the government has been slow to address these issues, while the slow pace of infrastructure development, particularly in rural schools, has left students without the tools needed for practical learning.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Kindly introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sharon. Sharon Jenga, they call me Teacher Sharon. I teach here in Lorizon Academy, a school in the outskirts of Nairobi. I've been a teacher for about, let's say, 5 years. I'm one of the teachers who have transitioned from the 844 system to the CBC system.
On to my first question. How has the CBC curriculum changed the way you approach teaching compared to the 844 system?
It's been quite different considering we were taught how to teach the 844 in campus, and having a new system, it's been quite different, quite challenging. For the CBC curriculum, we don't do the lecture method. That is, we don't lecture the learners. What we do, we facilitate the learning, whereby the learners are involved in the learning in every way possible. That is why you see in CBC we have a lot of projects. We have a lot of hands-on projects here that we do.
In your experience, how has the CBC curriculum affected children's academic performance and skill development?
As for the academic performance in the CBC, we are not really concentrated on whether our learner is position 1, position 2, position 3. What we are more interested in is impacting the skills that are going to help the learners. So, according to my opinion, I think the CBC is quite good. There is not that much pressure of being position 1. But even if you're in position 1 or position last, you still have a different skill. Like each and every learner has a different skill, compared to the rest.
How has the curriculum affected children's stress levels or workloads, particularly with continuous assessments and also projects?
For the workload, I'll do a comparison. In 844, I did 844, and in 844 we had a lot of writing and a lot of cramming and that in the classroom. But in the CBC, it's less of writing, but what you have is more project. So sometimes the workload can be quite high. Yeah, the workload can be quite high. Let's say a learner has 3 different projects in 3 learning areas. An example, the learner has a project in interpreted science, has a project in pre-technical studies, and let's say a project in creative arts. Now, for the learner, it may be quite stressful, especially during the end of term assessment, that is the written assessment that comes from the NEC, so it may be quite stressful. But throughout the term, we try to manage the stress levels by doing small bits of the project. That is what they say in Kiswahili, haba na haba ujaza kibaba.
This will be based on your opinion. Are the children in rural or unprivileged areas able to benefit equally from the CBC curriculum compared to those in urban areas?
That is, in my opinion, if a school doesn't have resources, and as we know, most rural area schools do not have resources, implementing CBC can be quite challenging. Yeah, because we can say like the learners need laboratories, the learners need materials that they need to buy. So if the school doesn't have enough resources to do that, implementing CBC can be quite challenging. Therefore, in some parts of the rural areas, CBC is not fully implemented. But when it comes to the urban areas, you can see it is implemented. But in the rural areas, we can see it is not fully implemented as it is supposed to be.
And lastly, what challenges do teachers face in implementing the CBC curriculum, and how does these challenges impact children?
That we need to improve on. Yeah, for example, the learners need to be guided. The learners need to be guided that CBC is not about competition. Therefore, that is removing the competition aspect from CBC is quite hard for us teachers. Yeah. Another challenge is for some things that you do in CBC, not everything is readily available, and we are encouraged by our senior most leaders to improvise. Yeah, to improvise on the things that we need. But sometimes we can see that there are some things we cannot really improvise. For example, if the learners need, let's say if the learners need water and that area has no water, yeah, you see it can be difficult to improvise water. Yeah. I think the parents just need to shift their perspective. Yeah, for what they are used to this is something new. Yeah, and we are still learning as it goes on. Yeah. So for the high cost of things, it's not really that high. Yeah, it's just that we try to give the learners the best out of the quality. Some of the challenges we face include the parents not being supportive of the CBC curriculum. That is, when we request things from the parents, it becomes a push and pull, whereby the parents doesn't want to buy, or the parent is like, I bought this last month, yeah, and yeah, so that is one of the challenges. The second challenge is we have, as teachers, we are not as accustomed to how CBC is being run, because we are fairly new at this, so we can, for some things it is difficult. It is quite difficult to implement them. Yeah, it is quite difficult.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. And that's a wrap on tonight's news here on KE Central TV. Thank you for joining us. It's always a privilege to keep you informed. We'll be back with more updates tomorrow, so stay tuned, stay safe, and remember to stay connected with us on our social media platforms for latest news as it unfolds. Until then, good night Nairobi, and to our viewers across the country and beyond. My name is Biagon Ian.